Big data is a skill set that probably all the data scientists have at this moment. That takes us to Spark, one of the most popular tools for working with big data. Spark has recently made the DataFrame API available for data scientists to use, replacing its former heavy reliance on RDD manipulations. So let's have a quick look at the agenda of today's video. I will start this session with the introduction to PySpark. Next, we will understand PySpark's DataFrame. Then we will have a look at its feature. After that, we will learn the use of DataFrames. And then I will show you guys how to create DataFrame from various sources. And we'll finish off this video with 2 amazing use cases which will help you to understand DataFrames better. Next, we have introduction to PySpark. Introduction to PySpark. Python PySpark provides an interface for Apache Spark. It enables you to create Spark application using the Python APIs and give you access to the PySpark shell, enabling interactive data analysis in a distributed setting. Most of the PySpark functionality, including Spark SQL, DataFrame, streaming, MLIB, and Spark Core, are supported by PySpark. To build more scalable analysis and pipelines, PySpark is a useful language to learn if you are already familiar with Python tools like Pandas. Next is, what is PySpark Dataframe? A distributed grouping of rows with named columns is known as a data frame. In layman's terms, it is equivalent to an Excel sheet with columns header or a table in a relational database. Additionally, it has several traits in common with RDD. We can create a data frame or RDD only once. We cannot modify it. After applying transformations, a data frame or RDD can be transformed. In other words, a task is not carried out until an action is taken. Both the RDD and the data frame have a distributed design. I'm sure you might be wondering why exactly we need data frames now. Let's discuss that. DataFrames features. Distributed. Data frames are distributed data collections that are arranged into rows and columns in PySpark. A data frame has a name and the type for each column. Data frames are comparable to conventional database tables in that they are organized and brief. The next feature is lazy evolution. Although Scala may be executed lazily, and Spark is written in Scala, Spark's default execution mode is lazy. This means that up until the action is involved, no operation over an RDD, data frame or dataset are ever computed. Next is immutable. Immutable storage includes data frames, datasets, and RDD. The word immutability means inability to change. When used in reference to an object, it signifies that its state cannot be changed once it is formed. Compared to Python, these data frames are immutable and provide less flexibility when manipulating rows and columns. Now we are going to look at the demo, how to create data frames. Let's go ahead and create some data frames. So now I used Google Colab instead of PySpark shell, as I personally find it easier to work with. It comes down to your choice. So guys, let's go ahead and start the demo. So now I will show you how to create a data frame in PySpark. Firstly, we need to have Spark configured on our device to use the PySpark shell. For this, you need to open your command prompt and then type in this command to install PySpark. pip install PySpark. So now, here we are ready to get started. We can create our data frame in PySpark shell, but I prefer to use Google Colab for myself. You can choose to do it in a PySpark shell or Jupyter notebook also. So, here let us open a new notebook. Now firstly we will have to set up a PySpark. So we will type in the same command pip install PySpark. Now as you can see that PySpark is set up, we can move on to creating an example of data frame for departments and students. So now as you can see, PySpark is setting up. Importing PySpark SQL. Now as you can see that PySpark is set up, we can move on to create an example data frame for departments and students. So now after the import is successful, I'm going to create a student database using the row function. So students equal to row consists of columns named as first name, last name, email, age, and roll number. So now we will create data for some students. Now in students, we have columns named as first name, last name, email, age, and roll number. So now we will create data for some students. We will write student 1 equal to student. Then inside this brackets we will write John. Like the first name, then the Amaral, which is the last name. Then we will write the email, age, and roll number. Again we will do the same for the rest of them, like we will just copy this one and then paste. After that we will change the specific first name and last name, email ID, etc. Like for student 2, 3, 4 and 5 also. We will change the specific name, like student 2 is Cassie. And there is no surname, so we have to write none. Email cassie@uni.sim. Then we will come to Lois, because Lois has a last name, so it will be Lopez. Lois Lopez. Lois@university.sim. So student 4 is Jack and his surname is Doris. because he don't have a email ID, so it will be none. And the age is 23. So for student 5, who is Michael, we will do the same procedure as the surname is Jackson. And the email is, I repeat, and the email is michael@uni.sim. As you can see that all these students' data are in the same format as given: first name, last name, email, age and roll number. So let us create some department data as well. So now we will go on text and let's create the department. Again we will use the row function. So department 1 equals row, then inside the brackets ID is equal to 001, we can take, and name is equal to subject. So name is equal to maths, the subject, or whatever you want to take. Now coming to department 2, it will be the same as department 1. Just have to enter the row, then inside the bracket the same ID is equal to whatever the ID you want to take. Because we are going in the serial number, so it should be 002, 001, and name is equal to, we should take English. Now coming to department 3, it will also go same. Starting with the row, ID, that is 003, and again name of the subject, we can take physics. So it will also go same for the department 4. So we should just copy and paste. (004), name of the subject should chemistry, or whatever you want to take. So now suppose you want to look at the values of student 2. We will use the print command to print student 2. So let's do it. Coming to code, and now print in bracket student 2. So you can see here the values of row student 2. The first name is Cassie, last name is not specified, so it has been printed as null value. Before moving further, we should check if there is any error or correction we should make. Let's see. Okay, so there are some double quote. And email is also missing. As you can see, only the single quotes will work. And because we mentioned the email for other students, so we have to mention the email in the elements also. So yeah. Okay, so it's all fine. Let's have a look. Let's just cross check and run it. Yeah, it's working. So moving forward, so you can see here the values of row student 2. The first name is Cassie, last name is not specified, so it has been printed as null value. Then we have the email cassie@uni.sem, and her age is 22 and roll number which is 14526. So now see how easy it is to use Python. And now we can also create some instances for our departments and students data. Okay, now so we have to click on the text first. Then we have to write only create the department with student instances. Okay. So now we have to click on the code. So as for department student 1 is equal to department student 1 is equal to row, and inside its department is equal to department 1 and student is equal to student 1 and student 2. Now for the others, we just have to copy this and paste like we have done earlier. And you just have to change the serial number of student, department, here we are creating some instances which shows us the student each department consists of. Let me show you how it is done. So you just need to execute the command. So we just have to go on the code and type print department with student 3. We will take student 3. Now we should cross check first. Let's see if there is some mistake or something. Okay, so we have to correct this. Okay. Now we should run and check if it is running or not. Okay, so here's the output. We get the roll number which is 13536. Now finally we can create our data frame. Let us create an array of sequence of instances for our data frame. So let's start. Creating data frame. Now we will go again on the code and department with students is equal to department with student 1. And then department with student 2 and then department with student 3 will get along. Department with student 2. Okay, department with student 3. Here department 1 consists of student 1 and department 2 consists of student 3 and 4 and department 3 consists of student 4 and 5. Then we need to create Spark context using from PySpark dot context. So we are gonna write. We should go on code first. After selecting the code, we need to create Spark context using from PySpark. Okay, PySpark dot context, import Spark context, and then from PySpark dot SQL dot session, import Spark session, sc is equal to Spark, so basically after this we can create data frame using department with students. So let's go on the text. So now let's run this program. Let's see if it is working. Okay, so now moving forward, we'll go to the code. Then df is equal to spark.create data frame. df, that is the department for student. Now we will go to the text and let's go for display data frame. So now we can display our data frame using display function. So let's go to the code again and write display function, that is df. So now, as you see, we have the structure of department which consists of two strings, ID and name, and the student array which consists of three strings, first name, last name and email, and two integer values which are age and roll number. Now as you know how to create a data frame, let us move on the COVID pandemic use case. So here we have the data of all the countries affected by COVID-19 pandemic, and it is the CSV format, so I am going to show you how it is done. Firstly, we will import Spark session from PySpark SQL using the command. So let's do that. So before going further, we should run this first. And let's see. Yeah. So now we will go to the text and write data frame from CSV, because I'm going to show how it is done. So firstly we will import Spark session from PySpark SQL using the command. So that is from PySpark.SQL import Spark session. Let's run this also. Yeah. So now let's initiate the Spark session to create a data frame by executing the following command. That is Spark. Let's go to the code again and write Spark is equal to Spark session dot builder dot app dot app name, and then in bracket create data frame from CSV file, because here we are learning how to create this data frame from CSV file. So create data frame from CSV file. Get or create. Yeah. So now as the Spark session is initiated, we can use the spark.read command to read the CSV file and convert it into our data frame, which we have named as COVID-19_df. So let's again go to the code. Okay, so before that, we should run this code first. So it's not. Okay, I believe there must be some syntax error. Let's find out. Okay, so it should be capital. No, it will work, I guess. Yeah, it's working. So now as the Spark session is initiated, we can use the spark.read command to read the CSV file, of course, and convert it into our data frame, which we have named as COVID_df. So let's COVID, go to the code. We are already in the code. So COVID_df is equal to spark.read.csv. Then in the bracket, path is equal to double quotes and then content country wise latest CSV underscore wise underscore latest dot CSV dot CSV. Okay. So here, as you see, I have provided a path to the CSV file. You can do this by uploading it on Collab. So let me show you how it is done. So as it is uploaded, now we can right click on the file and copy the path into our spark.read command. Otherwise, if you are doing it in the PySpark shell, you can directly copy the path of the file from the local directory. We have used comma as a separator, and as you see, I have set header equal to true. This is because otherwise the data frame would take the first row as the initial values of the dataset. So now after successful execution of the command, our data, which we are going to run. So yeah, it's running. So now I will tell you how to upload this file. Let's go into the files. On the documents, then I have already uploaded this file, that's country-wise latest. So you just have to choose the file and it will be visible on your screen, as you can see here. So with the next step, now after successful execution of the command, our data is created. And now let's try out some commands which we can use on our data frame. So let's go to the code. Firstly, let us use the .show command to display our data frame, that is COVID_df show. So now let's check first if it's correct or not. Yeah, it's working and we have the data set here. So now as you can see here, we have the country or region, number of confirmed cases, active cases, recovered cases, number of death, and so on. Now, to look at the total number of records in our data frame, we can use COVID_df count. So for that, we have to go to the code again. Okay. So let's type COVID_df.count. Sorry. .count. Yeah. So with this, we should also check it first. I hope it's working. Yeah, we have the output. So here we have total 187 records or rows in our data frame. Now if you want to see the columns, although we have seen it using the df.show function, but if you want to see just the name of column separately, you can use covid_df.columns. So df.count. First we have to run it. Okay. Okay, so there is a correction actually. There should be a column instead of. So I run the code and that's the output. So as you can see here, we have all the columns listed out. Now here we can simply count the number of columns, but for more complex data frame, we can use len covid_df columns. For that we have to go to code again and len in bracket covid_df columns and bracket closed. Let's run this. So now you can see there are 15 columns in our data frame. Now let's print the schema of our data frame. Let's go to code again. We have to write covid_df dot print schema and closed. So let's run this also. Okay, so as you can see, the types of column we have been mentioned here, and you can set null label as they're either true or false, because in some data frames maybe some of the values are supposed to be null. So moving on further, you can also describe a particular column using covid_df dot describe in bracket. We should use double quote here. So World Health Organization reason. No, sorry, we should use single quote, because it will not work with the double ones. Okay, so dot show and then So as you can see, the column WHO region have been described here. Count is equal to 187. That means it has total 187 records. So here mean and standard deviation are null, as we have string values. So the minimum value is Africa and the maximum is Western Pacific alphabetically. We can also describe one more column as per. Let's go to code first. With covid_df dot describe single quote. Okay. Dot show. Let's run that. Here also count of total record is 187 and mean value is approx to 34,000, and the standard deviation is near about 21,326, and the minimum and maximum values are given as 0 and 98,752. So now we can also select a particular column or more than one column to show their details by using COVID_df dot select single quote country / region and single quote that's space / space 100 cases. Dot show. Let's see if it's working. Okay, so it's working. Here you can see the data of two columns separately. We also have a filter function to filter out the data of a particular column at given position. And also we can do that by using COVID_df filter in bracket COVID_df dot deaths 1000 dot show. Okay. Here we can see all the records in our data frame where the death count is greater than 1000. We can also count the number of records shown in by the above command using count function instead of using show function. So for that, let's see what is the command function. That is COVID_df dot filter COVID_df we have used the same command actually that we have used earlier, but instead of show you just have to write count. So because you are using count function here, so df dot deaths is in 1000 and instead of show just you have to write count. That's it. Let's run. That is 44. So the total number of record in the data frame with more than 1000 deaths is 44. We can also filter out more than one condition like this. And for that, let's see. Go to code. The command should be COVID_df dot filter double brackets COVID_df dot deaths greater than 1000, of course, because we have used this information earlier also. And COVID_df dot active that is greater than 10,000. This is closed. Okay. Dot show. Don't forget to close the bracket. Let's run this program. Let's cross check what's the error coming. You also have to take care of these small mistakes. COVID_df dot filter double bracket. Yeah, so here's the mistake. Underscore COVID dot death greater than 1000, and here's also one mistake. Yeah, so COVID dot underscore dot active 10,000 dot show. Let's run it again. So it worked now. Here we all the records where the date count is greater than 1000 and also the number of active cases is greater than 10,000. We can also use order by function to arrange our data frame in ascending or descending order. So for that we have to use the command that is COVID_df dot order by in bracket active dot show. Let's run it. So the error is here. Okay, this is called camel casing. B should be capital and Y should be small. Okay, so let's run it again. Yeah. So as you can see, data in our data frame is arranged in ascending order. Now we will try on running some SQL queries on our data frame first. We need to create a temporary table using the command. Using the command COVID_df dot register temp table in bracket COVID, sorry, C should be capital, COVID_table. Now we can use the command. That is spark.sql in bracket single quote select from COVID table from COVID_table dot show. So to show all the content of the table, we can also select a particular column using this last command, that is spark.sql in bracket select recovered from COVID_table dot show. So you can see the data from a particular column of the table is fetched out. Basically, these were the top 10 functions. So with this, we have come to the end of the session on PySpark Dataframes. I hope you found the session both interesting and exciting. If you have any questions about any of the topics covered in this session, or if you need resources used in this session, please let us know in the comment section below, and our team of experts will be pleased to respond as soon as possible. Thank you. Until next time, this is Umrah from the Simplilearn team, signing off. Continue to learn and stay safe.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.